Welcome back to another episode of the Dirty South podcast because everybody thinks they know sports, especially around football season. But nobody knows sports like the South. I'm your host, Cam. I got my boy Cole over there. Cue the intro.
It's a man's game tonight now, you know that.
Hey, three.
Anthony Richardson has now been declared the starter for their team. How good should we expect Anthony Richardson to be?
I don't know, man. I'm thinking Anthony Richardson may be the Colts guy. I'm thinking that this coaching staff, if you look at it with Shane Steichen, during his years as OC, he's worked with Phil Rivers, 1 year with Justin Herbert, and he's also worked with Jalen Hurts. And a notable one is Jalen Hurts because we've seen the progression that Shane Steichen has helped Jalen Hurts in his growth, and I think it can similarly happen with Anthony Richardson. It's going to really come down to the main X factor, Jonathan Taylor. Depending on what happens with Jonathan Taylor this upcoming season is going to really either hinder or it's going to exponentially help Anthony Richardson. And I know that he's only had 1 full year at Florida, but he's only had 1 year at Florida for his experience as a QB. And we've seen with Trey Lance in San Francisco how maybe the lack of experience can leave a lot of question marks for your franchise QB. But I will say there is no better experience than actually just getting on the field. So I think that if Michael Pittman and Alex Pierce can take just another jump, not like NFL like elite receivers, they can take another jump. I think Anthony Richardson is either a very it's a high risk, high reward type of thing. Like he has very high ceiling to me. I think if he pans out, he's going to be a really, really good quarterback because the talent is there. Like the physicals are all there. It's just going to really come down to the work that the Colts coaching staff can put together a game plan to have him have a rookie season similar to Jalen Hurts. We're not going to see him carry the boatload, him throwing dimes down the field, but utilizing his legs, using the tight end, using short passes, using RPOs. If he can kind of just use Jonathan Taylor if he's on the field, integrate that.
I don't mean to cut you off, brother. Bro, I do not mean to cut you off. You've said if about 15 times in that tape, and we can't live off ifs. We just can't. And I don't want you to be real. You're lying to the people. There is nothing that you have seen with your eyes that says Anthony Richardson is a starting caliber quarterback in the NFL. You have literally seen nothing. I haven't seen anything. He's only played 12 games, and in those 12 games at Florida, he threw 24 touchdowns, 15 interceptions, and had a 161 rushing attempts. What do we know about Anthony Richardson? He's an athlete. That's all we know. You know how many athletes are in the NFL? There's a lot of them. All of them are athletes. I don't know the ceiling or the floor with Anthony Richardson because we literally haven't seen him. He literally got drafted off of potential. And the last 3 quarterbacks I can remember getting drafted off of potential, this is how it went. I think it was something like Zach Wilson, Carson Wentz, Trey Lance. What are those quarterbacking situations right now? Carson Wentz, we don't know where he is. He had one really good season under Doug Peterson and completely disappeared off the face of the earth. Zach Wilson was so bad last season. They had to go get Aaron Rodgers to go replace him. Not saying that Aaron Rodgers is on bum or anything like that. They definitely got better for getting Aaron Rodgers. But Zach Wilson was the reason that team was losing. He was the reason that team couldn't get over the edge. The defense wasn't letting up any points, and Zach Wilson couldn't get through. And now we have Trey Lance here, who's about to get beat out by Brock Purdy. If Brock Purdy doesn't start for the 49ers, I would be genuinely shocked because we haven't seen anything from Trey Lance other than he's an athlete. That does not make you a starting caliber quarterback in the NFL. Another name you said in your take was Jalen Hurts. I hate that comparison with Jalen Hurts because Jalen Hurts, although he may have kind of started as an athlete, Jalen Hurts, we saw the progression. We saw him make certain passes, especially when he went to Oklahoma, had CeeDee Lamb, got under Lincoln Riley. We saw that he could do it. We have never seen anything about Anthony Richardson saying that he can do these type of things.
I mean, that is fair, but I do believe that the Colts coaching staff could formulate an offense to help the development of Anthony Richardson, because bottom line is we haven't seen anything, but the potential is there. And to me, it just comes down to Jonathan Taylor, because he's gonna really just have to utilize his legs the first couple of years. But he looked more poised and more natural in the pocket than CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud looked head and shoulders way above Anthony Richardson.
That's true. But the Texans are an extreme rebuild. They really have nothing over there. At least there's a little bit of a foundation in Indianapolis. Do you think he's over 15 touchdowns or under 15 touchdowns this year as a starter? Total.
I say over.
You say over?
We can put some bread on it.
I think it's tough. For him.
You don't,
especially when you
get 15. You don't think you get 15 TDs? And well, then again, if they're running the ball a lot, then JT may
rush for some touchdowns. I'm just talking about throwing the ball. And
that's why I said total.
Okay. I'm talking about throwing touchdowns.
Hell no. I'm not doing that.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Total.
And I hate this is gonna happen to him, because I really do hate the stigma of black quarterbacks in the NFL only being able to run. So I mean, I'm saying these things because I want to be logical about this, but I hope he's able to throw the ball. I hope he's able to make those throws, and this doesn't turn into he's just an athlete running the ball. You know what I'm saying? So I hope he'll be able to progress. But you look at his first 4 games, he got Jaguars, Texans, Ravens, and Rams. I'm really worried about those last 2, because he's going to have to see Aaron Donald, and he's going to have to see that Ravens defense. We're going to find out who he is very soon. And this is you know how the media gets. Let's say he goes 0-4 in those games, or 1-3. We're going to start questioning his whole entire career. We're going to start questioning everything.
I mean, are we?
Will he be able to bounce back off of that?
I mean, we're not expecting anything from the Colts, so I think it really just comes down to his performance. I don't think it really comes down to his record.
He was drafted in the first round. We were hoping. I'm talking about from him individually. We have to see it. We have to see something that shows that's our guy. That's the Indianapolis Colts guy. And I don't know if we'll see that as fast as we want to.
I think if JT on the field, we can see it. If not, it's gonna look pretty ugly.
Yeah, I mean, according to what the owner is saying to Jonathan Taylor, I don't know if I show up. And I don't know if he's gonna play that injury card all along, but I don't know. The owner has said some pretty crazy things to him, but I think it's a lot of pressure on him. The offensive line is iffy. We don't know if he can really throw the ball outside the numbers as good. And now he's missing his number 1 weapon. You're asking him to do a whole lot. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
And I've seen those situations happen before, and it doesn't end well. So I really didn't understand, because he's such a raw talent. Why wouldn't you just start Gardner Minshew at least half of the season just to prepare him to get to a certain place? That's why I feel Jordan Love might actually have a good season, because he sat behind Aaron Rodgers.
Look out, bro.
So literally, I think they should really just sit. I don't even think Stroud should start. Only person that should start is Bryce Young, because I think Bryce Young will be able to get those guys over the hump sooner rather than later. But everyone else who's kind of rebuilding, I don't see why you throw your starting rookie in there to jeopardize your future. You see Joe Burrow he's getting an injury every other week now. So I'm just saying that first year could ultimately end bad as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's like is Patrick Mahomes if he doesn't sit behind a year behind Alex Smith. But it's like you're looking at Davis Mills, Gardner Minshew. It's not really like a franchise. Like Alex Smith, say what you want, but Alex Smith was still a franchise QB, went to multiple playoff runs, a very respectable career. So I don't know, man. It's kind of tough. We're gonna see Stroud and Richardson. That's tough, bro.
We're gonna see.
Those 2 organizations are weird.
Yeah, so that's definitely going to be something we watch during the season. Switching on to college football, we have not talked about college football one time, but we are going to do today. So there is a lot of hype around Georgia Bulldogs going back to back. Some people say they're going to three-peat this year because college football is so wide open. Is Georgia college football's new dynasty is the question we're asking. And Koa, as the Alabama homer, I need to go first here. I figured. Quick question, Koa. When did the Nick Saban dynasty become vanquished or end?
I don't think it's ended, bro.
Okay, all right. That's all.
Personally,
last time I checked, there can only be one dynasty at a time. Second, Nick Saban has won 7 national titles in the last 10 years. He's completely dominated the landscape of college football. Yes, Kirby Smart has done a really good job at Georgia. They've had some really good defenses come through. But for Georgia to be this outright dominant champ, they've beaten Alabama one time in the last 6 years. And in that one time, Alabama had starting corners out, starting receivers. I'm not going to get on to the semantics of it. But Georgia has only beaten the prohibited favorite one time in the last 5 years. Out of all those cracks, they've only beaten them one time. And with Georgia losing all its quarterback, almost its entire defense, because, I mean, that defense was great. I mean, they're all on the Eagles now. You see that whole entire defense going, I don't know if you can say that they're a dynasty because you can go back to Dabo Swinney. You thought when they had Deshaun Watson, Trevor Lawrence, they won 2 national titles. Where are they at now? They're gone. No one's talking about Clemson at all.
DJ Uyunglele just sold.
Right. So I'm saying it can happen so fast. So I don't think we should be so quick to crown Georgia a dynasty. Now, should they be the favorites after last season? Sure. Anyone could be the favorite. Anyone could be number one. Sure, they can be the favorites. But I want to see them go into some territories. I want to see them win games because I've seen Paul Feinbaum. I've seen a lot of people say this whole Nick Saban era is over. And I mean, that doesn't usually end well when you pick on Nick Saban. So I think it's interesting. I don't think Georgia's a dynasty yet.
Yeah, I think we agree here. I mean, Georgia is, I don't know, the word dynasty is just like, if you went back to back and there's already dynasty talk, like that's kind of like they're forcing. I think just anyone who's a fan of college football is just waiting for Nick Saban to just go away because they're tired of the dominance. Same thing with the Patriots, same thing with the Warriors. Like everyone just feels that type of way. But I will say UGA, if they win a third, if they win 3 straight, I'm not saying it's a dynasty, but I will say maybe we are in the Kirby Smart Bulldogs era like now if they win 3 straight. I will say they are the first team to win back-to-back in the college football playoff era, which is a pretty big milestone. So I know there's like a lot of people like Austin, if you're watching this, who are crazy Bulldog homers who just are like, just every single chance they get just talking just the most crazy stuff about Alabama. But you know me, I respect Alabama. I don't, you know, like, it would not surprise me at all if Alabama just surprised. It's crazy even saying that Alabama winning would surprise the college football world. Like, even saying that sentence is crazy. But Alabama's still Alabama. I still think that Alabama is still the dynasty. They are still the measure of greatness for college football, a program. But I will say UGA is coming up. It is on the rise. And if they win 3 straight, especially if they win 2 more within the next like 3-4 years, that the dynasty conversation could begin. But 7 in 10 years is crazy though.
Right, and I agree with that perspective too, because I mean, if you three-peat, you three-peat. There's nothing anyone can say about that. But I will say this year to me is the most interesting year of college football because there is really no top dog, no pun intended. I mean, there's a lot of question marks around everyone's team. So it's right. Really interesting on who's gonna be good. I expect a lot for USC and Caleb Williams too, coming off of the season he had. I think he's the best quarterback. I think all the scouts will be looking at him to be number one this year. One. Right. I mean, hopefully Utah doesn't scare them again like they did last time. But but I think this could be the most entertaining year of college football we've seen in a while, especially with Coach Prime and them boys in Colorado. You know, you don't know what you're gonna see. You don't know what you're going to see out of there. They've got a lot of recruits from Alabama and Georgia, so he's obviously a great recruiter, and the recruiting is the name of the game. Texas A&M is reloading, and they got a lot of 5-stars over there, too. Hugh Freeze, known notoriously for beating Nick Saban twice at Ole Miss, is now at Auburn. Things are going to get really interesting in college football real soon because Auburn's always a little brother to Alabama, but every 4 or 5 years, Auburn just gets good out of nowhere. You just kind of just unexpected. It could be one of those years for them. So I think college football is in a really good spot right now. There's no prohibited favorite. I think it's going to be good football come September.
So you like the parity. You don't like the...
Yeah, I don't like the dominance. As an Alabama fan, it'd be cool to be like, because everyone's thing is like, oh, they have all the 5-stars, they got all the quarterbacks. So let's see who wins when everyone's at the same level. It feels like at least everyone's kind of at that same level. And the last time Alabama was ranked outside the top 3, they won a national championship. So I think again, it's an even landscape, but I kind of like the parity of anyone can win any given Saturday, especially when Alabama has to travel to Texas and do all those things too. So we're gonna see a lot from a lot of these teams.
Man, this isn't be
It's gonna be fun to watch. It's gonna be fun to watch. It's gonna be fun to watch. Skipping over to our next topic. Now, as you can see, Cole is in the fake Mercedes-Benz Stadium. I'm in the real one with a championship. Cole doesn't know what the championship looks like. He almost did, but you got to play 4 quarters, not 2 to win a championship.
That's crazy. Really 3, bro.
Yeah, 28-3. But as you can see, we're both Saints and Falcons fans. But both the Saints and Falcons did have a preseason game. Last weekend? And we wanted to know who looks better out of that first preseason game, Saints or Falcons. I'll let you go first.
I hate this question, but I'm gonna still go with the Falcons because if you watch the Falcons game, basically the majority of the game, the Dolphins do it better. But like you said, you win the game in 4 quarters and not 2. And what really stood out to me, even though no starters are playing, but it's just the way how your boy Ryan Nielsen, you know about him, your D-line coach, and how everybody was raving about him. He's the truth, and I got a hot take. For the past couple of years, the Falcons have had a bottom 30 defense. This year, we're going to be top 15. You can book it. We're going to jump all the way to middle of the pack. I think that's a very big jump, and I do think that the D-line this is going to be a different D-line because throughout my whole existence, I've never experienced a good Falcons pass rush. Maybe one outlier with a Vic Beasley here or John Abraham over here or Grady Jarrett, who's a defensive tackle out of if your defensive tackle is your best pass rusher, no disrespect, but you're not going to really be as dominant unless you're Aaron Donald. But anyways, I do think that this defense is going to look very, very, very different. And I do need to see Ritter in these next upcoming preseason games. But off of that first preseason game, what really stood out to me was the defense. Scoring on special teams on a punt return by our boy D. Alford. That was pretty lit. And the defense making plays, really. Whether it was sacking the quarterback or getting that pick 6 at the end of the game, just finishing out the plays. Falcons look better. There's no way in hell I'm going to say the Saints look better. Sorry, you're not getting that.
Obviously, Koa didn't watch the New Orleans Saints game because if you looked at that first drive by Derek Carr, it was almost flawless. 6 of 8 and a touchdown. And this is the thing that I wanted to highlight because for me, the past 2 or 3 years, the Saints offense has been very stagnant and very reliant on one person, Alvin Kamara. He touched the ball 1 time during this drive. 1 time. And that was in the pass game, and that was a screen. Other than that, Derek Carr was able to spread out to everybody. Jawan Johnson can't guard Mike. It wasn't a slant route. It was an in route. It was 10 more yards. It wasn't a slant this time. Keith Kirkwood in the end zone. The Saints are in, to me, a really good position because they don't got the expectations on them. They can fly under the radar. fly under the radar, especially in this NFC South. And what Derek Carr showed me, especially because he only played one drive, and this is a preseason game, so I'm not putting all my stock into it. This is a preseason game.
Right. Okay, good.
He showed me that he can get the ball to multiple receivers, and that's something that I feel like former Saints quarterbacks really couldn't do as well, especially with the dependence on Alvin Kamara. And I'm kind of glad Alvin will be out the first 3 games because we'll see who we really have. And look. I know that might sound crazy. Are we a better team with Alvin? Of course we are. But I think Jamal Williams will be able to carry a little bit of that load because he's back there as well. But to see the connection between Derek Carr and can't guard Mike, I like what I'm seeing. Will he be able to stay healthy is the real question. And do I really have to talk about the Saints defense? Do I even really have to talk about the Saints defense? You see Alontae Taylor on the other side. Young rookie was making plays last year. He's going to do it again. You see Marcus May making plays. And you know Cam Jordan going to get back there. You know everybody else can get back there. So I'm not even worried about it's a Dennis Allen-led defense. They're going to blitz on third down. It's going to be a fun time. But that Saints offense looked real smooth. And I don't know if the Falcons don't want to see that come November.
Bruh, this man, I mean, you kind of lost me with I saw Saints quarterbacks throw to different receivers because past Saints quarterback, like, congratulations. Derek Carr is better than Jameis Winston and Taysom Hill and Ian Book. Kudos. Like we didn't already know this. Like, you pay this man $120 million. Like, I'd hope so in a preseason game that this man would be able to air it out a little bit if you're paying him that much money. But aside from the jokes, we'll see what happens because, Falcons are really flying under the radar. No one expects anything from Desmond Ridder and the Falcons.
No one expects anything from a team that can't throw the ball. Like, you're talking about all these good, who you're describing? We can run the ball and we can play defense. Yeah, it sounds like the Chicago Bears for the past 10 years. No one can throw the ball, Koa. So if you can't throw the ball, you can't win the game. That's how it is. That's how it is. And the Saints have someone who can throw the ball. You guys don't. I think Carmichael's going to have it cooking this year. That's just what I think.
Bro, we're just going to have to see. Because we're in preseason talking facts. We're going to go to the game and see this shit. Okay.
It's a preseason. This week one is going to be real interesting when we come back and have to talk about both of these teams. So, yeah, it's going to be good. I'm definitely looking forward to the Saints-Falcons. I think they play November 26th this year. So, we might actually go out to that one. We might. Right. If y'all want to see a little vlog to the bins, y'all let us know. But that's going to wrap up our episode. Cole, do you have anything to say?
No, sir. Tune in next week.
Well, guys, definitely comment, like, subscribe. Tell us if you believe in Anthony Richardson, because I don't. But let us know if you got any hot takes. Let us know if you have any hot takes about anything we said. But yeah, man, Dirty South Podcast out.